Hello folks, it's Ashley Garner with Ashley B. Garner and Associates Real Estate Professionals with Intracoastal Realty in Wilmington, North Carolina. Today we'll do a real quick video on the power of a cap rate. So we're talking about income producing property here, whether it be a multifamily apartments or a house or maybe a strip center or an office building. So any of these types of real estate are going to be valued based on the income approach, we would call it. So how much money does it make? And then that's going to tell you how much it's worth, is basically what we're getting at here. So a cap rate is a calculation, and a cap rate is actually a number that's used to help us arrive at a value. And you look at the value, you look at the net operating income, and there's a lot that goes into this. But as we boil it all the way down and say we know all these pieces, then if we would just take the net operating income, divide it by the cap rate, that'll tell us a value. And so real estate appraisers and lenders and investors will all use this number. A lot of homework goes into before you can make this calculation, and so that's why it's a good number to use, because theoretically by the time you've gotten to the point where you can use this, you've done a lot of work already. You know your numbers, you make a great investment. So I want to give you an example here on how this works. So say I've got an apartment building with 10 units in it, which I do, and say that I was going to add washer and dryers, brand new washer and dryers to each unit, which I did. It cost me $800 per unit times 10 units. That's $8,000 in cash that it cost me to put brand new washer and dryers in this apartment complex. Okay? Now, after I did that, I was able to raise the rent of each unit by $25 a month. So that's 25 times 12 months times 10 units is $3,000. So by spending $8,000 to put new washer and dryers in, I'm making an additional $3,000 a month, which is straight to the bottom line, or in this case what we would call NOI, which is net operating income, which is that number right there. Okay, now, if the cap rate is 8%, and we can talk about cap rates and how you calculate them another time, but let's just assume for this example that the cap rate is 8%, which is not out of line. So now I've got $3,000 additional net operating income. I divide it by 0.08, which is 8% cap rate, and I get $37,500. So what I've just done here is I've spent $8,000 to make an additional $3,000 a year, which has in effect raised the value of the apartment complex by $37,500. So let's think about it. So if I go to sell this place today, and I just now put these washer and dryers in, and I raise the rent, well, now the apartment complex is worth $37,500 more than it would be if I had not spent that money and put in the washer and dryers, because my rent would be $3,000 a year lower. So I hope that makes sense. The gist of it is I spent $8,000 to increase my value by $37,500, which if I cashed out and sold it today, it's a pretty good deal. So anyway, it's important that you understand the power of the cap rate and how making an investment here can affect the value over here. Why it's important to keep your rents up and your costs down so your net operating income as high as possible, and all these things. So we'll hit more on all this again in another video, and until next time, this is Ashley.